Does 3.0 have enough content for players out there? Personally, I'm currently at AR 56, almost at 57, and I'm sure that I will explore quite a big portion of Sumeru on the first day of 3.0, but I also know that there are some of you out there who can't do that, so I think the answer to the question really does differ from person to person. Either way, in this video I'm going to talk about most of the things that are coming in 3.0, except for characters, as I have already talked about it in my previous video. Hoyoverse releases some information about Sumeru on their HoloLab page quite frequently, so I definitely suggest you guys to stay tuned to it, since we might still get some more information regarding Sumeru before patch 3.0 comes out officially. So, without wasting any more of your time, I'm going to start going through the Sumeru adventure journals posted by Hoyoverse themselves on HoloLab. There's a total of 4 volumes to this, so let's get straight into it. Alright, so as you can see, we're on the HoloLab Genshin Impact official page, and here we have the first volume of the Sumeru adventure journals. This one mainly talks about the dendro element and its related reactions. So the first thing that we get is a summary of what Sumeru is as a nation. Nation of Wisdom Sumeru, a magical place where rainforest and desert coexist under the protection of the Dendro Archon. This place seems to hide a great secret, so just like when Inazuma was about to be released, Hoyoverse doesn't really want to leak any major lore about the region, and I'm sure that as we progress through the story of Sumeru, we'll know more about its history and also the story of its characters that appear along the way. But moving on, here we have an introduction to the dendro reactions. So first of all, we've got Quicken. When Dendro and Electro are applied to the same enemy, that triggers the Quicken reaction, and after Quicken is applied, the enemy will be in the quickened state, and if Electro attacks an enemy in the quickened state, Aggravate will be triggered, increasing the damage dealt by this attack. It's going to be the same thing for Spread, but this time it's Dendro that is applied to an enemy in the quickened state. And then we have Burning, which is Dendro with Pyro. So I think maybe you can probably sort of use this in a Yoimiya team. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure whether this reaction matters that much compared to Quickened or Bloom, as we can see here, but I'm sure there's still going to be uses for this reaction, and players out there will be able to find a way to take advantage of this and maybe come up with an amazing team comp for Abyss. But yeah, not quite sure about this reaction. It seems quite weak from the information that we've got at hand. Definitely way weaker and way less important than Quickened. After all, Quicken can definitely buff some of your existing Electro DPS's damage, like Raiden Shogun's. I can definitely see maybe Raiden National being changed up, in which Xiangling or maybe Xingqiu is replaced by a Dendro character, allowing Raiden Shogun to trigger Aggravate with her burst, increasing the damage of the burst. I can definitely see a Dendro Electro team with Raiden in it really shining when 3.0 Abyss comes. And since reactions scale with EM, it might be a good idea to keep those decent artifacts with EM for your Electro DPS characters, like Raiden as I just mentioned, and maybe also Yae Miko, as her 4th Ascension passive increases her E's damage by 0.15% for every point of EM she has. And moving on, we've got Bloom, which is the reaction between Dendro and Hydro. When it's triggered, a Dendro core is going to spawn near the enemy, and the Dendro core can further react with either Pyro or Electro to trigger Bursion or transform into these homing sprawling shots, as they call it, which deal electro charge damage. And for Bursion, when the Dendro core explodes, it's going to deal AoE Dendro damage. These reactions definitely have the possibility of changing up the meta. I'll make a video about all the new Dendro related reactions once I get the free Kale from the event, because I'm not pulling for Tainari. And in volume 2 we have some more information on the mushrooms that we have already seen in the 3.0 livestream. Similar to how Dendro reacts with Pyro and Electro, this type of mushroom also reacts to those elements and goes into a certain state. There's 3 states in total. In the normal state, you can jump on them and get launched into the air. I'm assuming for the school state, you can't really do anything to them, and you might have to sort of revive them using Hydro to get them back into the normal state. As for the activated state, you'll be launched even further into the air, and I'm guessing that this will be incorporated into the exploration of the rainforest. There's also seems to be a creature that reacts with Electro and gives off a revealing pulse, which reveals hidden objects nearby. This seed looking creature does essentially the same thing as the previous one that we saw, but this time around it can also react with Pyro, and the pulse that it gives off has a bigger radius. And then we have the 4-leaf sigils and cluster leaves of cultivation. They're essentially Sumeru's thunder spheres that we can use to fly towards the sphere's direction, and we are also going to be getting a stamina recovery plant. Not sure how it's going to work, whether it's going to have a consumption cooldown or not, but it's pretty cool. And last but not least, we also have a dendro-related that seems to apply dendro on the enemy that we're fighting, and it deals dendro damage after the character's attack land. Not sure whether it will be useful in combat or not, but I'm sure that it will have a use in exploration. And then moving on to volume 3, it talks about the dendro-related again, but this time it talks about the puzzles that we'll need to be solving with the dendro-related. And here we can see that when a charged attack or aim shot hits an opponent while you are carrying the dendro-related, it'll attack at the same time, which we already covered in the previous volume. And there's also going to be sort of objects that you'll need to interact with using the dendro-related. I'm assuming that you'll need to activate it if it looks like this, and you'll need to destroy it if it looks like this. And apparently the Withering of Sumeru can only be cleared with the help of the dendro-related's power, so I think you'll definitely need to look out for these dendro-relateds when you're solving the Withering puzzles. And we've got more info on the Withering Zone. So in the Withering Zone, your characters will accumulate the decay, sort of similar to the freezing effect in Dragonspine. When you're affected by it, you'll have your elemental res, physical res, and also max HP decreased. I don't really think it's going to hinder us that much unless if the decay bar is full. But you also get these candles of life and flames of life that you can find, which will decrease your accumulation of decay if you stand near them. And as we can see here, you'll need to use the dendro-related's power to clear most of the Withering Zone away. So you need to use charged attacks or aim shots with a bow user, which will destroy the Withering branches. And when all the branches are destroyed, you can activate the Tomb of the Withering, and it will begin to summon waves of enemies. And after defeating all the enemies, you'll be able to destroy the Tomb itself, fully clearing the area of the Withering effect. And during your adventures, you'll also come across these tower looking things. On top of them, you'll find this seed mirror looking device that you can interact with to spot the Withering stones that have yet to take shape, and then you can go to the location that the mirror shows you to prevent the Withering from being created. There's also the stone pillars seals that you can use against the new ruined dinosaurs, and it seems to activate with Pyro, and I think you'll probably need to activate a certain number of them before the effect fully takes place on the ruined dinosaur. And there's also the strange energy extraction device that you can find at the Eremite camps. I think you'll need to find the key before activating the device, and it's similar to a monolith in which you'll have to defend it against the Eremites that spawn whilst you charge it up, and once it charges up, you'll be able to get the reward for it. And then we have the last volume, which talks about the new creatures and enemies. And oh my god, we're going to be getting more floating fungi apparently. There's a Dendro, a Nemo, an Electro one, and there's also a Hydro Shroom and also a Dendro Shroom. Hopefully we won't have to kill these things for ascension materials for not Dendro characters, but Sumeru characters in general. I don't want to fight them, they look adorable. And then as for the Eremites, we've got a Desert Clearwater, so I'm assuming that her attacks will be infused with Hydro. And then we've got an Eremite Sunfrost, so I'm assuming that his attacks will be infused with Pyro. And then we also have the rune drakes. We've got the one without hands, and we also have one that has wings instead. And then we have the electro flower, probably going to one-shot it with Hu Tao's burst. And we also have a jade plume terrashroom. Can you really pronounce it that quickly? Jade plume terrashroom. Yeah, I guess you can. Anyway, you'll probably need to defeat it, get its boss bats, and then use it to ascend the new Sumeru characters that are coming out. Last but not least, we're also going to be getting some creatures that aren't our enemies. So we've got the shaggy sumpter beast. I guess you can get some meat from it. He looks quite cute. We've also got a tiger with butterfly wings as its ears, and we're also getting a spinal crocodile. I think the spinal crocodile is going to be the first ever underwater creature, and apparently it attacks you from underwater, similar to the boars. Speaking of the boars, we're going to be getting a variation of them called the shroom boars. Oh my god, they actually look quite cute, not gonna lie. Hopefully I don't have to kill them, unless if they're aggressive, similar to their normal counterpart. And as we explore Sumeru, we'll also be coming across these Seitun peaches, Paradisaras, and also Kalpalata lotuses that I think you'll need to use to ascend your characters with as well. Then we have some more information regarding Tighnari's voice artists, both in English and in Japanese. I don't know what other anime characters this Japanese VA has done voiceovers for, but I'm sure that the voice artists that do voiceovers for Genshin characters are going to make the characters sound really alive. We also got some more information about Tighnari. As you can see here, we've got his basic information, and we also got a preview of what he needs to ascend and also level up his talents. So we are going to be needing the new dendro crystal, the new boss drop from the mushroom chicken, the spores from the floating fungi that you can already farm for in the chasm, and also the new lotus looking item that you'll collect in Sumeru. As for the talents, of course you'll be needing the new regional talent books, the spores again, and also one of the boss drops from the Raiden boss. Scrolling down, we can see what Tighnari's kit looks like. His charge shot is what matters the most with him, and it can be charged twice just like Ganyu's, and it will unleash 4 extra arrows dealing some more damage. As for his E, it deploys a field that deals continuous dendro damage while taunting the enemies in the field. When his E is up, the charge time for his next 3 charge shots are going to be decreased, allowing him to deal massive amounts of damage in a short period of time. Finally, his burst. It is basically his charge shot, but with more arrows and a higher scaling. I'm not gonna go for his background story. For those who are interested, you can read it here before 3.0 comes out. And I think I have covered most of the features that are going to be implemented in 3.0. There is probably still some information that we don't know yet, but we'll just have to see for ourselves when 3.0 drops. Meanwhile, we have 2 ongoing web events right now in which you can gain Fremo gems very easily. The first one is a puzzle in which you get rewards for putting the puzzle together correctly and interacting with the pop-ups on the map. The event is going to end on the 23rd, and the second one is a Tighnari themed Spot the Difference event with 3 stages, and unlike the first one, you can complete this one in one go. You're getting a total of 120 Prime Gems from the first one, but for the second one you aren't getting anything. Although that is the case, it's still quite fun, so why not? As for this event, it's going to end on the 24th. That is it for all the information I can find right now about the new features that are coming in 3.0 and aren't leaks. And I think this video will be the last one before 3.0 comes. Subscribe and turn on notifications so that when my 3.0 videos drop, you won't miss them. 3.0 is going to be huge, and I'm going to make tons of video when it's out, making sure that you guys know everything that you need to know before diving into the new content. Anyway, thanks for watching until the end. Leave a like as well because it really helps me out. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!